Okay, and with that, we're going to get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for today's special webinar titled Leader as Coach, Finding Clarity in the Chaos. So my name is Frances Sadi, and I serve as the Associate Director of Non-Degree Programs here at Brown University's School of Professional Studies. At Brown School of Professional Studies, our mission is to inspire and equip leaders and professionals, such as yourself, with the skills and tools that you need in order to navigate complexity, drive meaningful change, and transform the way the world works for good. We believe that we believe in education that is not only rigorous and practical, but also deeply human-centered. So today's session addresses a challenge that's front and center for many leaders right now, and that is, how do we find clarity and lead effectively amid competing priorities, constant noise, and relentless demands? A recent Gallup report found that nearly 2/3 of employees experience burnout, and leaders themselves are often stretched thin, managing hybrid teams, adapting to AI disruption, and navigating rapid change. In today's environment, leadership isn't just about having the right answers, it's about creating the space for others to think clearly, prioritize, and then be able to move forward with confidence. And that is exactly where coaching-based leadership comes in. So coaching isn't just a tool, it is a mindset, one grounded in presence, deep listening, and asking better questions. And these are the same core skills that we teach in our Leader as Coach program here at Brown, and something I will talk about later on in our presentation. Today, you'll have a chance to explore two of these coaching skills, active listening and powerful questioning, as we look at how these skills can help you lead with greater clarity, even in the midst of chaos. So in a moment, I will hand things over to our two incredible faculty members that are here, Judy Knabb and Dr. Brian Klein, who will guide us through an interactive discussion on leadership and finding clarity, including two role-play exercises designed to give you practical strategies for identifying priorities and creating space for what matters, both individually and across your teams. But before we dive into quick housekeeping items, so first, we definitely welcome your engagement, and I see the chats coming through, which is wonderful. Throughout the talk, if you can use the Q&A feature found at the bottom of your Zoom screen to submit questions. We will save some time at the end to answer your questions and also engage in a bit of dialogue. And second, we are recording today's talk, and we will send out a link to the recording sometime in the next few days. So there's no need to feel like you have to capture everything in real time. The recording will be available. And with that, I am honored to introduce Judy Knabb and Dr. Brian Klein, two of our incredible faculty members who teach in our Leader as Coach short program featured in today's talk. So Judy Knabb is a certified leadership coach and accomplished talent development leader here at Brown University. She has over 15 years of experience designing and implementing impactful learning initiatives and has a deep passion for helping leaders grow and thrive. Her expertise includes leadership development, mentoring, and creating inclusive strength-based cultures. And joining Judy today is Dr. Brian Klein, who is an emergency medicine physician and educator with over 20 years of leadership experience at Brown's Alpert Medical School. Brian is passionate about helping healthcare professionals grow as leaders and has developed programs that support learners from students to senior faculty. He brings a systems thinking perspective and deep curiosity to the coaching space, especially in high pressure and values-driven environments. So together, Brian and Judy will lead us through an exploration of coaching tools in action, including two live role-play demonstrations designed to bring these skills to life. Judy and Brian, thank you so much for joining us today and for offering us the opportunity to learn from you. And if you don't mind, I'd love just to start off the conversation today, just hearing a bit from both of you on what it was that first brought you to coaching.
Well, thank you, Fran, and hi, everyone, and hi, Brian, again. So for me, coaching, well, my background is in learning and development, and that's an area that I've been working in for a number of years now. And there was a piece that seemed to be missing, both for me helping other leaders in growing and developing, and for myself. I recognize that even when we taught coaching skills in some of our training programs, our leaders were still really focused in on problem solving. And while that's great, and that's what we're hired for, I knew that there was more. And so I really wanted to expand my range, both as a leader and as a learning and development professional. So I sought out a coaching certification program and became certified coach about 6 years ago. And so I have the opportunity now to coach one-on-one and to be a coach-like leader. Brian, how about you?
Thank you. And it's an honor to be here with everybody. And this is quite an international audience. I was looking at some of the names and locations popping up. So really excited to be part of this. As was mentioned, I am a practicing emergency physician. I've been here at Brown for 25 years in various educational and administrative and leadership and teaching roles. Um, I I came to coaching through being coached. I've had a few experiences, like many of you on the call. I call them accidental leadership roles. Like suddenly you're thrust into a position that you're not maybe not quite prepared for. And the most recent time that happened to me in my career, for the first time, I enlisted the help of a coach, and it was a person who was a leadership and performance coach. And I didn't exactly know what that meant. What I thought would happen was I would tell this person all the problems and challenges I was having, and then they'd tell me what to do. And that's, as you probably know, precisely not what happened. What they did was offer some really powerful questions that led to deep insights that led me to understand how I was showing up as a leader and how I was approaching situations, and that there were alternatives. And they opened my eyes and exposed some blind spots. And it was, in short, it was a transformative experience for me. And after a while, I realized that the person coaching me was using real skills, and this was learnable. And so I wanted to possess those same skills so that I could serve others that I was helping to develop and trying to empower. So I, like Judy, did a certification program, and I've been part of the Brown and ACT Orbit doing training and leader as coach. Did the team coaching program, and what I'm really struck by is it's a different mindset and framework when you're thinking about leadership. I mean, in medicine, more than and like in many fields, we trade in expertise and knowledge and knowing the right answer and solving problems. And coaching kind of upended that for me, and I started to see the value of asking the right question versus having always having the right answer. And so hopefully today we'll try to present a little taste of what that experience of being coached looks like and sounds like and feels like for you. So look forward to engaging with you throughout the hour here.
Thank you, Brian. You were talking about how, we can't do it all and being more of a coach-like leader. And even in times like the theme of our webinar is clarity and chaos. So before we get started with our demo and talking a little bit further, we wanted to hear from all of you in our audience in terms of, what brought you here? What brought you here to think about, especially in respect to clarity in chaos. And so what we'd like to have you do, and Sam, sorry about that, Fran is going to, has provided for you some directions in chat and a link to a Mentimeter. And yeah, so we're just looking at, what's a word or phrase that comes to mind when you're thinking about clarity, finding clarity in chaos. And so, and we're going to watch our cloud grow as you enter your information. Lots of words coming up there, Brian.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm seeing administrative changes, presence, uncertainty,
Hmm.
calm.
Yeah, that's coming up. Purpose is large too.
Yeah, the more frequently that a word is typed in, the larger we see it on our word cloud. So keep typing, folks. Sense of agency, yeah. Lots about
Confidence.
purpose.
Yeah. So clarity, if we can get through the chaos and find clarity, we can find some of these things: peace, calm, purpose, focus.
Hope.
Yeah. Understanding.
Work smarter.
Yeah. I like it's a smallish one, but it says sense of agency, and it reminds me of the notion of like being at choice or having some choice, and how often we don't feel like we have that.
Yes, sometimes I feel like it's like we're on that wheel and we just keep going, going, going without taking time to stop and
Hmm.
find that choice, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I love that freedom. So, when you think about the end result, the value of finding clarity, it leads to freedom. I love that just single word there. Intentionality.
Flexibility and pivoting as well. We'll leave it up just for a short more time, right, Fran? And then we'll go ahead and close that out.
Yeah, leave it up maybe for just about 30 more seconds, and then I can certainly save this and share it.
Sure. And we see that some people are also adding some things to the chat as well, right? Balance, I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ways of knowing, rest.
So people are quick to identify, it seems really quick to identify what clarity can result in, whether it's personal freedom, peace. Like it doesn't, we know these things intuitively, that if we can find clarity in the chaos, then it'll lead to all these, positive and beneficial outcomes. The challenge is like, how, how do we go about that? You know? Um, I don't know about you, Judy, but like, how often do you feel like there's just not enough hours in the day to complete the things that you need to complete?
Yeah, I hear you. Brian, definitely. It's like the to-do lists can never get to done. We're constantly going, going, going. And at best, it sometimes we look like, the duck on top of the water, like we have it all together, yet we're paddling, paddling away underneath, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
sometimes we can look nice and calm as leaders, but then there's a lot of chaos and a lot going on underneath and within.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Never. And I mean, I think most people can relate to the idea. Sometimes I think about like we're the victims of our own success, like professionally, because when you demonstrate that you can be responsible and be responsive and attend to all these work projects, then you get rewarded with, guess what? More work projects and more responsibility. And that can feel good and stretch us to a point until it doesn't. And then it becomes unsustainable. And we become overcommitted and we haven't really developed some of the tools to either set boundaries, say no, or really identify what's important.
Yeah, and I think that's really key, Brian, because that's where in Leader as Coach and learning some skills, and we teach about 13 different skills in Leader as Coach, and becoming more of a coach-like leader and knowing when to use them and adding them really to your toolboxes is key. And I think what we want to do here now is do a bit of a role play to kind of show a little bit of what these skill sets could do in a one-on-one conversation, right?
Yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to transition to a couple different conversations, and we want to draw your attention to the first conversation is going to be what may be characterized as a more traditional mentoring conversation. I'm going to be coming to Judy with a problem or a challenge that I'm having, and she's going to be like any boss or supervisor or colleague, giving me her best shot at helping me. And we want you to, and then we'll kind of pause after that and get your reactions and feedback to the conversation, and then we'll transition to a different type of conversation. We'll try and draw some distinctions there. Does that sound good?
All right.
All right.
All right. So, okay. Hello, Brian. What's happening?
Well, Judy, I'm glad you're here because I could use your help with something. The reason I wanted to meet with you is because I'm just feeling like I can't get organized. It's been happening for a while, but over the past probably 3 months in particular, I have been especially overwhelmed. I'm just I'm drowning in a lot of things, but I feel like I'm not responding to emails. I'm delaying. I'm kind of shutting down a little bit. I'm overextended on several projects, and I'm starting to beat myself up about all that, and it's just become paralyzing. So I guess the thing I'm would love some more help with is either getting organized or figuring out how to back out of some commitments that I've taken on that I know that I can't complete in a timely way, nor can I give it my best effort. So
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever had this problem, but
sure, absolutely, Brian. I have, and I've gone through it, so I've got some great ideas and some great advice for you. Before we get to that, I heard overcommitment. So could you give a little more detail about the overcommitment? Like what are some of the projects and things?
yeah, that's a great okay, so I've been involved at the med school for a while in various roles, and every now and then someone will reach out to me and say, "Hey, would you like to give a presentation, or would you like to help with this workshop?" And even though it's not something that's like immediately in my like sphere of impact right now, I've got a lot of other competing priorities. I feel compelled to say yes, and so I just most recently I committed to giving a series of talks at the med school. Um, and I don't know what that's about. Like, I just, my whole body and my mind are saying, like, no, you don't have the time for this. And then, like, yes came out of my mouth or came out of my email, and I agreed to do something. And I'm just like, and the second I sent it, I just regretted it because I knew I wouldn't be able to give it 100%.
Yeah. So I'm hearing you say like you're really into the weeds and everything. And one of the things I've got to tell you from my experience is the nature of work, Brian, is always, there's always going to be more work than we have time for, right? So my advice to you is really to try to identify what's a way for you to prioritize your to-do lists so that you can, what are some methods that you can use? I know I have some particular methods. I look at some things like what's urgent, what's not urgent, what's important, what's not important. And I
Mm,
really focus in on that a lot to help me in making my decisions of whether to say yes or no,
mm,
and that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. No, that's good. That's a good point. I've tried to do some of those, urgent, important matrix. The problem is my head, everything feels urgent, probably because at this point I've let everything go and everything is
Yeah.
becoming, deadline driven and urgent. And so, yeah, I have a little bit of a hard time prior, but I get it. I know that there are some longer term projects and there's some shorter term things. So
Yeah.
yeah, that might be a helpful strategy.
And Brian, I'm wondering, like, when you say like it's all getting really, coming down on you and everything, what's one of the first things that you've really postponed and put on the back burner?
Um, Well, there's something right now. I had an individual who I like oversee or supervise who's he got a great opportunity. He's leaving the group, but he's left a vacancy in his role. And so I need to fill that role. And I know that there are steps to take to do that, i.e., update the job description, send an email, do some recruitment. And I, for whatever reason, I just can't get out of my own way to get that done because the sooner that gets done, the better off for everybody, including me, because it'll be less time with a gap in that role. So that's one example of I just can't seem to figure out why I can't get that done. Um,
No, it sounds
I get your
like
question actually.
it sounds like one of those things of really, getting the job description and such. While it will help you, you keep pushing it back. I mean, one of the things I like to recommend is if it's one of the things that you really don't want to attack or postpone the most, do it first thing in the morning. Like,
Mm,
have you ever heard of that eat that frog? Like it's
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah.
thing, so go ahead, eat that frog kind of thing. And I'm curious as to with all these things on your to-do list, have you tried getting up earlier in the morning to try to tackle things or maybe there's a certain time of day that
Yeah.
works for you. I know for me, getting up early in the morning before my meetings and such.
Yeah, no, that's a good. I'm definitely sharper and more like just focused in the morning. And that's also the time that I try to get some exercise. So there's another competing priority there. But I could probably do a better job of using my time in the morning because, by the mid-afternoon, I'm not at all effective. It takes me twice as long to do something at 2 p.m. than it does at, 6 a.m. So
Sure.
you're right. I probably could be using my energetic time more effectively.
Brian, I've known you for a while and I can really see where, you're good at implementing things. And I'm hearing you say like getting up earlier in the morning to get things done, trying a little bit more at, and especially the things that you're putting way on the back burner and
Yeah.
trying more in terms of, prioritizing things and such.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering like, what do you want to commit to? You know, what do
You
you
know,
think
one thing,
about?
one thing we didn't necessarily touch on this, but as you were talking about like my, kind of the one thing, I'm realizing that I'm not really good at asking for help. And there's this one thing that's in my way, this like re revising the job description. I'm just thinking to myself, like, I don't know, is that something that I need to do, or can I mean, I have an assistant, I have some people that I can rely on. So um, it's not something that we necessarily talked about here, but you know, delegating a few things might be
Yeah,
helpful. And that's not something that I typically do, and not sure why, but yeah, no, I think that's one thing I could do. And yeah, I like the idea of, I haven't really sat down and made a list of all the things I have to do, and then been intentional about like prioritizing them. They all just kind of form one list, and I
yeah,
randomly select something
gotcha.
and do. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. So it sounds like, by instituting some of those things, I think if we meet next week, I'm going to see a different Brian, right? It sounds like because you've already got some great ideas.
Give me 2 weeks to get my life in order.
Sure, sure, sure. But I think, instituting these things you've just talked about, you're going to be great, Brian. I know.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah,
for the encouragement. I appreciate it.
yeah. All right, we're going to stop there and go ahead, Fran.
Yeah, so at this time, I'm actually going to launch a brief 3-question poll. You both did wonderful, and there is no right or wrong answer, but this is to get some feedback on the mentoringship type conversation. All right. So the 3 questions on a scale of 1 to 5, how effective was Judy at helping Brian? From not at all effective up to extremely effective. Question 2 asks, to what extent on a scale of 1 to 5 did it seem like Brian got new ideas or insights from the conversation? Ranging from not at all to a great deal. And then the last question is on a scale of 1 to 5, how committed does Brian seem to take action? From not at all committed to extremely committed. So we'll just wait a few minutes and give folks a chance to fill that out. and then I will share the results. All right, we'll give about 10 more seconds. Thank you to those who have completed it. We're almost at 70% participation. Let's get a few more. All right. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to end the poll and share the results. All right. So, as far as how effective was Judy at helping Brian, middling results with, didn't do too bad, Judy. About half of you said effective, and then 26% said very effective. To what extent did it seem like Brian got new ideas or insights? About the same, about 37% at somewhat, 44% quite a bit. So kind of mediocre. And then how committed does Brian seem to take action? So this is less positive. So about third split between slightly committed, committed, and very committed. So I'm going to stop sharing and turn it back over to you both to jump into a coach-like conversation.
Okay. So from here, we'll continue the conversation, but focus more on some coach-like skills. So Brian, I heard a lot regarding organizing and such, and a lot going on and all. And I'm just curious about what's important to you in all of this and getting organized.
Yeah, like what's important about being organized?
Yeah.
Um, well, I feel like if I am organized, if I get to that point, I'll have less stress. Um, I feel like people will, if I'm organized in a way, I feel like I'm fulfilling my responsibilities as a leader.
Mm,
I think, part of being organized to me is around being responsive and to others and being responsible. And, when I see my inbox filling with things that I haven't had a chance to tend to, and it's, a week out and I haven't answered that email, then I feel like I'm not fulfilling my responsibilities as a leader. And that leads to a cycle of, yeah, just how I'm thinking about leadership, I guess.
yeah.
So that's part of it. Um, And yeah, I'd like to, move up some projects forward and actually accomplish things. So part of getting organized is actually getting results for me.
Yeah. So I'm hearing getting results, and
Hmm.
I'm also hearing something around responsibility as
Yeah.
a leader. And so I'm curious about like a value related to that if there happens to be one. I'm sensing something there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think if I myself am organized, then I think I can have more time and I won't say flexibility, but more time to attend to the people that are relying on me or that I am trying to serve and develop and work with.
Hmm.
So I think that yeah, I definitely feel a responsibility to the trainees, the fellows, the junior faculties, the people that I'm working closely with. So I think you're right. I mean, that is really important to me.
It's important. It's a value. It's something you like to live by.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so with all that's been going on in the last 3 months, if you think about a scale of 1 to 10, with one, I'm not really living to that, and 10, I'm rocking it. I just, where are you with that in respect to it?
Yeah. In terms of my own time management and organization and feeling like I'm responsible, is that it?
No, let me clarify a little bit more because you were talking, yes, regarding like really living to that responsibility,
Yeah.
that I feel like I'm really fulfilling that value of being responsible, a
Hmm.
responsible leader.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe like a 4.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Feels like a 4.
yeah. And so, w- where would you like it to be?
mean, ideally, I mean, like to be a 10, but maybe for purposes of reality, we'll say an 8.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
So if, I'm wondering if you could just fast forward a bit, and if you're thinking about, going from a 4 to an 8, what things would have to shift?
If I was being responsible and, at an 8, that would mean that, let's see. I mean, part of this is just being timely. I mean, I feel like things, it would be like, things would be done 50%, faster than they're being done now. And I don't mean like faster, like just for the purpose of efficiency and like kind of doing a superficial job on things. But things that are done well, that I can demonstrate, thoughtfulness to, and that I'm proud to put out there. Whether that's a communication to the group or a project or a scholarly project or a curriculum or any kind of administrative project that I can say like, okay, I put time into that. I'm proud to put it out there, and it's serving others well. So if I could do that in a lot less time, that would be that would be like an 8. And um, I think part of it, like being at an 8, would be just just being able to say no and set some limits. I think having a better sense. I do this thing. I don't know if someone asks me to do something, and I suddenly become like really optimistic about this capacity of time that I have. And like in that moment, I'm like, oh yeah, that's really interesting. I want to be involved in that, and I don't know. I get this like sense of people want you to do something, and I feel honored by that. And I say yes without doing the actual calculation that indicates there's not enough time in the day to do that.
Yeah,
So me operating at an 8 would be just more discerning and I
yeah,
don't know, careful and intentional about what the things that I'm committing to. Because I think that's the thing like about responsibility that you kind of touched on. Like when I make a commitment that I know I can't fulfill, that feels irresponsible. And that's where I feel like I've been kind of treading lately.
okay. So just to play
Yeah.
that back to you, I'm in the realm of, I'm going to use your word, irresponsibleness, irresponsibility to some extent because I'm not following through and such. And I want to be more in the area of feeling responsible because I'm following through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I,
yeah,
I think about if you're going to do what you say and say what you do, and that notion of like integrity as a leader,
yeah,
I feel like maybe that's a better word, maybe than irresponsible. I just feel like I've lost some of that sense of integrity because I'm saying I'm going to do things and I'm not necessarily doing them, and that feels like an incomplete circle there.
sure, sure. So there's something really important about your integrity as a leader there.
Yeah.
And a lot has been spinning that.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah,
And I just, I mind you, I'm at a 4 and I'm feeling this way, but I just want to be clear. It's not like someone's breathing down my neck and someone's saying, like, no one's tapping me on the shoulder saying, boy, you're really, failing at your job here and you better shape up and be more responsible, et cetera. This is definitely an internally observed problem that I know, I mean, it hasn't gotten to a point of, needing to be remediated or anything like that. This is something that I just feel that I want that I know is just something doesn't feel right.
yeah. And so it's almost like, what's the impact of it, right?
Yeah, the impact is I'm feeling stressed at
Yeah,
many times when these things pile up, and so the stress factor is high. And then yeah, probably the other impact is just me, how I'm like talking to myself and telling myself about like how I'm, how it's going at work.
yeah. So if you wanted to shift that a little bit in the direction of an 8, and where it's feeling where you're feeling more like that leader with integrity, what's a step or two that you'd be willing to take?
Yeah. Well, two things came to mind as we were talking. One is I mentioned that like that moment where I sort of, lose control and say yes and say, I feel like I need to have some kind of internal check mechanism to like pause and or maybe just don't commit to anything until I've had a time to think about it. I'm very much an in the moment. I mean, I'm an emergency physician, so I'm an action-oriented person, and I tend not to, you know, dwell and hesitate and things like. So, part of me feels like I need to introduce a bit of a pause before I make, that next commitment.
Mhm.
Um, and and the other thing is just a really practical thing, which is, I need to look at my list of, to-dos and figure out like what are the things that are central to my like sense of that sense of responsibility and which things are continually fall outside of it because the truth is I'm probably like voting with my feet unconsciously about the things that are important to me and I haven't really taken stock of you know the things that I'm dragging my feet on and why so I think I need to do a little deeper analysis of that.
So I'm hearing two things. One is, and you were going like this a lot. You're presenting physically like a pause, so some sort of pause before you say yes. And then the
Yeah.
other thing was a deeper analysis of the things you're doing, right?
Yeah.
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 And so if you do both of those things, you said you're at a 4 and you want to be closer to an 8. What do you suppose, where would you be then in terms of,
Yeah, if I could do both those things, I mean, it would take some time to get, to inch my way up from a 4 to an 8. Um,
right?
but if for example I introduced that pause and said like let me get back to you and think more about that, which is not something I'm really good at. If I started doing that, I think I could inch my way up to at least a 5 in short order. It'd take a while to dig out from some of my other commitments,
Mhm.
um, but I think that's something that I could do immediately.
Yeah. So focusing in for a moment on that, the pause
Yeah.
and getting back to someone, like what do you want to say yes to in respect to that? Like what action?
Um, yeah. The thing that just came up to me is, when that next email comes in saying, I need a piece of your time for this, or I'd like you to, would you want to, blah, blah, blah. Just maybe create a folder that's kind of like the on pause folder that's it doesn't get lost for example but it's something that I say this is a awaiting response need to think about so I maybe some really concrete mechanism to just set it aside for a moment kind of like using my hand like set it aside and that may be one way for me to introduce the pause um, yeah I don't know that's probably not a great example because it's email driven, but in the moment, I think it's just asking myself, do you really have time for this? Like really,
Mhm.
be honest with yourself. So
Mhm.
I think those two mechanisms might be helpful.
Yeah, yeah. And when do you anticipate trying those out?
Well, I'll do it today because I've got, a few requests in my inbox now. I,
Mhm.
I, I don't want to pretend that I have discretion to say yes and no to everything. I mean, certain things are, your boss asks you to do, or you don't have a lot of choice in. But maybe that's the thing maybe that's the sorting mechanism is to really look at and say, which things do I really have a choice in right now, and which things do I not have control over? I may not have control over when I have to do something really important to get paid. I got to complete my patient charts, whatever that is.
Um,
But if maybe that's the thing, Judy, actually, now that I'm thinking about this, I need to figure out like what are the things that I really have control over and what are the things that I don't have control over. And of the things I have control over, that's be the things I would introduce the pause for.
yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
hearing you say that's where you have your choice.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think I've been talking about under the assumption that I have choice in like everything that I do, and the truth is I don't. But I have. Yeah, I think that might be the useful thing for me is to make that list of as opposed to urgent important, what do you have control over and what don't you have control over? That might be the starting point for me.
So when do you want to make that list?
Um, I have my handy dandy like yellow legal pad. You can't see it because it's all blurred out, but that's how I do that's my organizational tool. So I'm going to do that after we get off the phone, after we get off this call.
All right. And then how do you want to hold yourself accountable for this, Brian?
Um, geez, it's a great question. Maybe it'd be nice if someone else held me accountable. Do you want me to take a picture of my list and send it to you later?
I'm happy to be your accountability partner there.
All right. Why don't we
Sounds-
do that?
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you, Brian.
Well, great. Thank you, Judy and Brian. I am going to do two things. I'm going to launch the same poll that we just did earlier. And then I'm also going to put into the chat an invitation to respond on some observations on what folks saw. So let me do the poll. And same questions this time in response to the second role play. And we'll give a few minutes for folks to fill that out. And then if you feel comfortable adding some observations into the chat, you can do that as well. And then we're going to transition and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Leader as Coach program. And while I'm doing that, definitely invite you to enter questions for Judy and Brian using the Q&A feature found at the bottom of the Zoom screen. It can be questions about today's topic, finding clarity in chaos, any questions about coaching and Leader as Coaching mindset, but then also questions about our program as well are all welcome. And I'm going to wrap up the poll here soon. I'm going to give about 5 seconds or so. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to end the poll and share the results. So here they are. Interesting. So in comparison with the first question, how effective was Judy at helping Brian? The results seem to be skewed more towards very effective, and even 15% of you saying extremely effective. And then to what extent did it seem like Brian got new ideas or insights? Again, results seem to be skewed more towards the positive, with half of you, over half saying quite a bit, and then 36% a great deal. And then lastly, on a scale of 1 to 5, how committed does Brian seem to take action? Yeah, so with this one, this conversation seems to be ready to go with higher commitment. So very committed, 63%, and then 17% extremely committed. So I'm going to stop sharing. And then we could just spend a few minutes, Brian and Judy, if you want to look at some observations that folks are entering and
Yeah, I everyone's had a chance to kind of like weigh in on either of these cases. I was just curious if people wanted to pop in the chat. What are some things that you noticed were different between the two conversations that Judy did?
Yeah, more thoughtful questions. Yeah. Role play one added to the pressure. Role play two got more at the root cause. Yeah. Definitely less advice, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And focusing in on values. Sure.
yep.
Yeah.
Some great observations. Judy did, we talk about the Leader as Coach program as providing like foundational tools. It's not a formal like coaching program with a capital C. It really distills down the dozens of skills that you use as a coach down to, as Judy said, about 12 or 13 core skills. And what I think you saw her doing were some of the foundational elements of deeply listening, asking open-ended questions, and really, allowing me to explore this perspective that I was having on, what it is that's, getting in my way. So one of the things that I've noticed in using these skills as a leader is most of us feel a sense of responsibility for solving people's problems. That's kind of how we, in many cases, got to where we are as a leader. There's a tremendous unburdening that can occur when you're acting more as a coach-like leader than when you're internalizing and taking on the challenges of others. So that's something that I've found really useful in some of these skills.
Yeah, and Brian, I noticed a couple of
Yeah.
questions in the Q&A. One of them was, is it asking questions and getting at underlying values and priorities that lead someone to clarity? I think that's part of it. What we're saying here is that's part of the skill set, Jennifer and others. Asking powerful questions, listening at a very, what we call level 3 listening, and doing some, connecting people or reconnecting them or reminding them of their values is definitely very, very helpful. This was a very short demo. So that was really important that we were trying to show just a few of the skills. Yeah.
Yeah, values work is one component of like some of the leaders coach training that you'll do. So values is definitely something that we use a lot of.
There's also a question regarding, like that it could be helpful, and I'm paraphrasing, engaging a professional coach and a therapist when someone is stuck. So I think we might want to talk like what coaching does is take you from right where you are now going forward. When I think about therapy, often looks at what's happened in the past to go forward, and that's just a very quick explanation of it. So I think coaching is very much different. And Brian, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of overlap between the support that you get from a coach, a mentor, a therapist, a counselor, and so there's some overlapping skill set. But yeah, the distinction that Judy made is one that I often think about is, therapy is a lot of times looking back to root causes and re-exploring and re-exposing and understanding them. And coaching is really about present and forward looking. It's the analogy I use is, you're not pulling the wiring out of the house, you're laying some new wiring on top of old.
Yeah, yeah. And then there was one more question about how do you learn these breakthrough, questions and such. And that's part of what we do as the skill building in leader as coach as well. And some of the other skills that we teach as well. Oh, it looks like, thank you, Fran. You added some information about the Leader as Coach program so that you can get more of an idea. There's a link there, folks, in chat.
Yeah, I just want to layer one thing in, Fran, before you turn it over. The one of the advantages and one of the reasons I think Leaders Coach that at Brown stands out is it is highly experiential. It is lots of active learning. There are tons of opportunities for using these skills in real time, and the first day you'll go home and be equipped with some of the tools to start asking these powerful questions. So.
And we could go on and on, but I think we need to go back to you, Fran.
Yeah, I'll go through my slides quickly, and then if we have time at the end, we can answer a few more questions. So definitely, folks, feel free to continue to enter questions. Really appreciate the thoughtful comments, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay, you see that okay?
Yes.
All right. So as I said, I'll just kind of go through this quickly. But here at Brown, we are proud to partner with ACT Leadership, which is a globally respected leadership development firm known for its evidence-based, human-centered approach to coaching. So together with ACT, Brown and ACT have partnered. We've developed a short program called Leader as Coach, which is a structured, practice-based experience designed for managers, team leads, emerging executives, and really anyone looking to lead with more clarity, intention, and impact. So the program offers, as I said, hands-on opportunities to build real confidence and competence in a coach-like leadership style, focusing on core skills like active listening, powerful questioning, and navigating complex conversations. So I won't spend too much time on this, but what really stands out to me about this slide is that in today's modern workforce, we're facing unprecedented leadership challenges. And it's really the way that we have worked has never changed so quickly. And because of this, we're constantly having to evolve and reinvent the way we go about our work. And it can be exhausting and incredibly challenging to be both a productive worker and also remain engaged in today's modern workforce. So here at Brown and Act, we believe that training to become a coach-like leader is one of the solutions to combating these types of challenges. And so becoming a coach-like leader really has benefits at two levels. So first, it benefits you as the leader. So coach-like leaders are better equipped to manage change, and research shows that they tend to grow in emotional intelligence, effectiveness, and efficiency. And it also broadens your perspective. So instead of carrying the full weight of every decision, you learn to engage with your team in thoughtful ways, being able to problem solve, get new ideas, and that leads to a more balanced decision making, greater innovation, and stronger outcomes. And then in addition to having individual benefits, there are also proven benefits of being a coach-like leader to your team and to your organization as a whole. So coaching helps you build trust, balance relationships with results, retain talent, and improve influence within your organization vertically, both up and down. So in fact, a PwC report found that the mean return of investment on executive coaching is 7 times the initial investment, which very few leadership programs are anywhere close to that number, which is quite striking. Okay, so I'm going to get into a bit of the nuts and bolts of the actual program. If you visit our website in the link that I shared, you'll see that we offer the program in 2 different formats. And so there's one format is in person and the other is online. And the idea behind this is it really allows you to choose your own adventure, selecting the option that works best based off your own learning style, your needs, as well as what logistically may work for best for you. So you can see the details here. The online program will start up on September 16th and run for 7 weeks. It'll meet in the evenings, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, while the in-person option is a 3-day intensive experience. It's offered here at Brown University on our Providence, Rhode Island campus, and it runs 3 full days, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at our School of Professional Studies building. So here is the more detailed schedule. As I said, we'll share the link to the recording. You can get this online as well. Sorry, it's 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the one thing I like to emphasize is whether you choose the online program or the in-person, the core content of both are the same. It's really just the way it's delivered that varies. So I actually had the privilege of going through the in-person Leader as Coach offering recently. This past spring, Judy was there. Brian was one of the 2 coaches, and it was really, really wonderful. There's something special about being in a cohort in person, being able to set aside time and be fully immersed in that program. But conversely, it's also, if you wanted to stretch it out over the 7 weeks, it allows for a little bit more space in between the content. And so if you digest things more slowly, that option might work better for you as well. So since we are tight on time, I'm not going to go through the individual modules, but they are there, the outcomes as well. I do want to just point this out. So the registration for our online program ends September 9th. For the in-person, it's going to end October 8th. But I also want to point this out that we have a a discount code that we are offering just for attendees on this live session today. It's LAC Info 15. So the offer will expire in 2 days on July 25th, and that discount code will get you 15% off either per option. And lastly, before we wrap up, I also wanted to briefly highlight 2 other professional coaching programs offered through ACT. So in case you're looking to go further in your development as a coach, you can check out these offerings. So the first is ACT's Leadership and Performance Coaching Certification, or LPCC. So the LPCC program is a comprehensive ICF Level 1 accredited certification program, which is designed to help you coach at a high level, whether you're working with individuals, leaders, or teams. This program is delivered in partnership here at Brown and combines evidence-based methodology with practical tools to help you build both your coaching capability and your coaching business. It's a great next step if you're looking actually for that full certification with strong professional credibility. And then ACT also offers a team coaching program. And in fact, Judy just graduated from that program. So congratulations, Judy. So the team coaching program is ideal for coaches who want to expand their impact by working with groups, teams, or organizations. It builds on the core coaching competencies and provides frameworks to navigate group dynamics, systems thinking, and organizational change. So if you're interested in deepening your practice beyond one-on-one coaching, this is a really valuable pathway. You can learn more about both of these programs on our website, and I can drop the links to those programs at the end of my presentation. And actually, that is it. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'll add those links. I know we are pretty much at time, but if we want to take 1 or 2 more questions, feel free to go for that.
Fran, there were oh, sorry, Brian.
Oh, good, good.
There were a few in the Q&A about what kind of certificate you get through LAC versus ICF.
Yeah, great question. So for the Leader as Coach program, at the end of it, you'll receive a digital Credly badge indicating that you've completed the course. It's something that you can share on social media, letting folks know that you've gone through it. Sometimes you see them, you can put them in the signature of your email signature. And then you'll also get a certificate of completion, which is a formal certificate that you can keep and also print out.
Yeah, and for ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation, the other 2 programs that Fran talked about at the end, the Leadership and Performance Coaching is a certificate program that leads one to then become ICF certified. And then the team coaching is for coaches who are already ICF certified. So I just wanted to put that out there too.
If you were already an ICF certified coach, the one thing I would add is if you decided to take leader as coach, the hours you have to like re-up your certification every 3 years, and the hours for leader as coach would qualify as an ICF certified like event, not necessarily to get your initial certification, but your maintenance of continuing education.
And we are just about at time. So even if your question wasn't answered live today, we do go through and read the comments and the questions. So thank you for taking the time to enter those. And yeah, thank you for joining us today. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will look for the email with the link to the recording. It'll get sent out in 2 days. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye.